Hey, so I just posted my Clash This Tone video on the main channel. It's the salt, but it's the tone plastic. It's the new one. I actually have that disc right over here. As you can see, it got a little bit warped. You probably can see that as we go around it. It's a little bit harder to see, like on camera I was noticing, than in person. But there's definitely, you can probably see a little bit there and how warped that's going to end up being. That was from me throwing it really hard into a tree a bunch of times. So I don't think, like, naturally when you play, it's going to be easy for this to happen. You might be able to even, like, fix it. But I had some extra thoughts that I wanted to go over today. The reason that we're kind of going this style, a little chill, is my wife has normal sleep schedule. And so since it's like 10:25 and she's going to work in the morning, she's asleep. So we're being a little bit quiet. Got some notes and some general thoughts about, like, stuff that some people brought up, and then other thoughts that I had just about the Clash Tone plastic and, like, what it means for the sport and then for Clash in general. And these type of follow-up videos, like, sometimes I have extra thoughts and I don't want to put them in a comment, so they might just be over here on Banana Froth. So check it out if you want. If you want to subscribe to Banana Froth, I appreciate you so much, because this video is going to go up, like, right after I finish it, which is why we're going to try to do one take, which is going to be very hard for me, but we're going to do it. So basically, I've watched some other videos after mine because I don't like to watch videos before, and I saw some people be like, yeah, this is they're trying to compete with gyro, they're trying to take gyro, and I'm like, honestly, I think that people need to stop saying that this is gyro. I'm going to really quickly look up on Clash's website some of their, like, marketing materials just to kind of see what they're saying about it, because frankly, like, physics-wise, it's not going after the same thing. Just looked up the tone, because you look at gyro. This is the point of gyro, especially to have anything that's in fission plastic. I have a detour, paradox, hex, fission. Give me something in fission, baby. Whatever. We'll be the YouTuber and pull out the Eagle MB. You know what I mean? Snag this on Infinite. Snag the Clash stuff on Infinite. I'll leave it linked. But the point of the overmold is that when you are spinning something, if it is lighter in the middle and heavier on the edges, it's going to stay in the air longer. I'm not 100% sure. It's either centripetal or centrifugal force. I'm not that smart. But I know, like, that is one of them. And when it's spinning around the center axis here, it's going to have the outer edge. If it's spinning faster because there's more mass, it's going to stay in the air longer. That doesn't make any sense with this. So I don't know why people are saying that this is, like, another way to overmold, or they're trying to do gyro. It's not trying to be gyro, because gyro is, in terms of gyroscopic stability, the way that a disc spins, and has more weight on the outer edge and less in the middle, which is why people like fission plastic, because you can get the outer edge, like, the inside has, like, it's like weird plastic. It's got, like, bubbly on the inside, and then the outside, so it's lighter. Like, the fission's, what I've heard, the most light on the middle flight plate versus the outer edge. I just got an allotment from Infinite. I filmed an unboxing. That'll be coming here to Banana Froth here pretty soon. And for instance, I had these two Pharaohs. And what I care about when I'm looking for, like, a really bomber disc, and honestly just most discs in general, is I want something that has some of that, like, gyro-ness in it. And you can feel that. Here's a Pharaoh eye blend. Really like this eye blend. But this isn't super pop top, and you can hear the different tenor of the pop top. Listen to this versus this. Versus, I have even one more, which I think will do it more. You see, you hear it's very subtle, but that compared to this is a little bit deeper of a tone, for lack of a better word, for tone plastic, than this is. The reason that I'm going to put this one in the bag over this one is that, like, lighter tone means that that's the only way I can really show you on camera that this is a thinner feeling flight plate. This is thicker. It feels like there's more plastic in the flight plate than this one, meaning that since this is 171 grams and this is 170 grams, the weight is going to be distributed more favorably to throw farther with this one. At least that's what I think. It could 100% not be true, but that's essentially, like, what's going on with gyro, and why, like, physics-wise it makes sense. The faster you throw, the more this is going to work, which is why Eagle says that he believes in gyro technology. We'll see whether or not it does make a difference for him, but, I mean, he's crushing. I cannot wait to see him get back into, like, full force. We're going to be filming some more stuff soon, hopefully, but that's just why, like, this is just not gyro. Like, from the middle to the edge, I mean, maybe, like, if this plastic is a little bit more dense that they put at the bottom here than on the top, in a sense, that would also make sense. So, maybe I'm a little bit wrong. Maybe this is kind of like gyro. It just doesn't seem to have the same, it's not going to the tips, and that's really where it matters, because even getting here, like, here to here, versus here to here in terms of where the plastic is going to be is a much bigger difference when you're talking about throwing something at 65, 70, 75 miles an hour and spinning it at 1300, 1400, 1500 RPMs. So I don't really think it's going after MVP gyro. I'm just going to really quickly click on the tone thing, and I guess we'll just kind of read it together. What they say. So the bottom of the rim is made with stiffer plastic, which makes the disc very torque resistant. The top of the disc is very grippy premium plastic mixture, which guarantees the best possible feel when throwing in any conditions. Tone technology combines the best properties of two different plastics in a completely new way with three-dimensional appearance. That sentence doesn't quite translate very well. This additionally accelerates the disc's spin speed during throws. All these elements collectively enhance the disc, unlocking its peak performance potential. It then gives a little bit of like the benefits underneath it, which this is where we kind of need the thing that Discmania is working on to be a competitor to Tech Disc, or maybe they're just, I don't really know. I know that Discmania has some part of this thing, but it's something you put on discs to measure like stuff. I think Tech Disc is where you want it to be because they calibrate it in-house where they have all the technology versus like this thing where you just place a puck on it. But we would really be able to see, like, can we spin this one faster or more than just the normal salt? Honestly, personally, I think that the answer would be yes for me, but almost exclusively because of the grip. Like, I feel like I'm going to be able to feel like I can grip into it more and have it rip off those fingers easier than a gummier plastic that I feel like could more easily grip lock. So I guess that is a way that it makes sense. But it doesn't seem to be claiming the same things as gyro specifically. Benefits, it says the best fusion of stiffness and grip on the market. I think that's honestly pretty true. I'm trying to think of a really grippy plastic that is like as stiff as this, and I can't really think of one. Maybe Royal is kind of the other thought, like the Strive down here. It's not as stiff, but it's very stiff. It feels phenomenally good. Has some good tack. Honestly, I think that's where I like the swirly S-Blend from Infinite, because it does have just that little bit of extra give, but still so stiff. Like, I think this does a very similar job, but it's definitely not like as dichotomous. There's not as big of a difference between the flight plate and the rim. So, also these Emperors, I cannot wait to throw. They're going to go so freaking far. So, a couple other benefits that it says that it has is faster spin speed. Not sure if that's the case. Guarantees consistent stability for all discs. That's interesting that they put that as a benefit. I hope that is the case because just based off of initial reviews from people, each having their individual ones, it could be a difference in arm speed. Maybe they're all this flippy. That could be the case. I do think that like sometimes people don't take into account when they're watching different reviews that like spin has a massive ability for something to look more or less flippy. Like if somebody throws 5 or 10 miles an hour slower than I do, but they also throw 500 or 600 RPM less than I do, a disc will look a little bit more overstable for me. It's gonna go like a lot farther, but like it's gonna look a little bit more overstable, or you can make it look more overstable because of spin control and playing with the amount of spin that you give a disc versus speed. And so because I only have one of these discs, I can't check to see if that's true because I'm the only one throwing it. And now I've warped this one, so I need 2 new ones. And when they come out, maybe we'll do another Banana Froth follow-up to kind of test this out, because I think new technologies and trying to innovate is really, really cool. But advanced manufacturing process allows to influence the stability. I guess that makes sense. So maybe they're able to get more say in the stability as it goes along. And then the disc sustains its optimal properties longer. I will say I was very surprised. It took a beating, and it didn't really seem to change the stability much, if at all, on the throw that I had at the end of it. So I guess that is very good. The first disc is going to be the Salt. It will be extended to most of their existing molds in the future. So I think that they're kind of getting to be all in on this. And honestly, to be completely honest with you, you might just turn it forward. I hope you didn't hear that, but now that I said it, you know, because I'm not editing this video. It's just going up as it is. But I think it could be a good thing to go all in on. I'm not even going to lie. I hope it's not going to be priced like the Double Steady, which I think was always supposed to be like a little bit more of a special edition. $35 for a disc is crazy. Oh, hello, Discord. I think the max that it could be is like $29.99 maybe. I know some stores are charging a lot of money for like special edition stuff, but especially if this is going to be something that's like, it's just the type of their plastics, it needs to be priced according to that. Clash is already a little bit more expensive because it's coming from Finland and there's import duties and fees, and it's small, so the distribution and manufacturing, like the scale isn't there to lower prices like it is in something like an Innova or Discraft if they did want to have overseas distribution. But that also brings me to kind of my next point is, I know that they want this to be a new way of having plastic, and it feels like, to me, they want, like, they have to have steady plastic and tone plastic, very similar to how Infinite has S Blend and Halo S Blend. So like you have a couple different like options here. Like I have my Halo Centurions and my Swirly S Blend Centurions, just different color. It doesn't seem to have any major like difference in stability that is super consistent, like how it's going to change the disc. But that is something that they're claiming for this tone technology. But my other thought would be like they could have changed the name. Like if they called this a new driver, like I don't know, the Tone Banana. Check it out. It's not coming. I have no relation. I don't have a massive relationship with Clash. I mean, frankly, they send one disc to like a lot of creators, and I get one disc. So like, that's what it is. But they could have changed the name of this, and I think people would have had a different reaction than if they called it still the Tone Salt, because you have an expectation then. Like I have an expectation that's going to fly like the other discs sitting on my shelf right there, and especially with the plastic that is supposed to. It didn't say it was going to be more overstable, so they could all become more understable, which would not be good for Clash because their lineup is already relatively understable for the most part. The Sage that's out is a little bit overstable, but it's already a little bit flat. I hope, like, I thought that they could have changed the name and maybe that would have been a solution, but then I go and read that and it's like, no, this is what they wanted to do for everything. But I think that they are just going to need to, like, really make sure that they're bringing a really solid run to production instead of these, like, early protos that came out really flippy. At least I hope that this is a proto. I still am not 100,000% sure, but I would imagine that they're not just going to put tone optimized performance technology on it. They're going to put some sort of stamp that looks nice and different, which they could have the same run and just have a different stamp like that. These all come as blanks and then they get stamped. Like it's not stamped inside of the injection machine. But I hope that there's a little bit more like QA that goes into it. So next is something that I got commented on my video a little bit, which was that like, hey, the flight looked good, or like it's a nice flight, and I think it definitely can be. And for a lot of people, like they're gonna like this, but I personally do not like the flight of a disc that is flat and flippy because it is so much more unpredictable. I had someone actually say that like my take on like flat discs was like he said misguided or like wrong or something like that. And I don't know, man. I've thrown a lot of this. I've thrown a lot of flat discs. I've thrown a lot of Domi discs. And like my consistent experience is that when a disc is flat, and I think this is just like aerodynamics. I don't know why, but it would make sense that if I've had this experience over the course of reviewing tens to hundreds of discs, that like it would be more of a rule. But if you have a flat disc that is understable, one, I don't know any pros who throw those type of things. They tend to throw like overstable flat discs, which I love. Like overstable flat discs are great, but the understable ones are hard because the point of an understable disc is to get like a flip and a ride and then like softly doing all these things and then finishing. And so if you go back and watch that video and you watch the flight of my Pharaoh versus the flight of this, it's much more drastic. The flip up, and then it doesn't really hold the mid flight as long, and then as it finishes, it just it goes, instead of just going, it goes and it dumps out of the sky and like kind of gets to that knife edge, which I really like in something like a Conqueror, which I have a flatter one, or like something really overstable that I don't want it to glide. I just want to throw it up in the air, be a dart, and just like sit. But I don't know who is throwing understable disc for that. And if this is going to be like your stable driver, like you're throwing in the 250 to 300 foot range, it's going to be relatively stable. You might still get some flip, but you might need it to have that reliable fade. But for something that is an understable distance driver, like it doesn't really do the job. Maybe for a roller, I did try to roll and I actually flipped fast. That was off camera. I forgot that I actually did that. But that was actually after I warped it. So maybe there's a difference there. But I don't like the flight of this because the flatter the disc, especially a little puddle top, it like just sucks up the mid flight. And even in Denver, the mid flight is sucked out. I do think that like the flight looks nice and like this could sound arrogant. I really don't mean it to be, but like when you're throwing something over 450 feet and getting a full flex, like it's just going to be a pretty shot. Like there's not going to be an ugly shot that's over 450 feet. Like it's going to look cool. Like at least that's personally what I think. And so I think that you will really notice like the finickiness or the weirdness or like the why is it doing that? And the flatter it is, the more like variability I found. The Domier, it holds tighter lines, it moves a little more gently, it's a little more forgiving. And this is forgiving if you throw it on too much hyzer because it'll like pop up because it's pretty unstable, but then it'll just dump on you. And I really just don't like that flight because the mid flight is gone, and so it'll pop up flat. And if you watch the video when I'm at the course on the last hole, I thought I parked that basket or threw it in or threw it just past it, because it popped up and it got to here. And so I expected if it was Domi, it would just kind of glide a little bit on that. But because it's flat, it got there and it's like, well, I don't want to keep going this way. Dump. And it just dumped out of the sky. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So there was a little bit of right to left. So that could have been a factor. But that's why I don't like the flight of this disc or anything that is kind of flat and flippy. That's why, like, for me, the Centurions that I have here, that I really like, they got that dome to them. And it doesn't have to be a lot of dome. Like, even this is what I'm talking about, is like having a little dome. This is an Emperor that I don't even mind if it's a little flatter, because these are going to be more my forehand Emperors. But this disc has like, look, it's got a little pop. Shoulder, a little dome right there. And it also, you can't really hear it, but like, I can push that in. Like this, I'm like pushing through the disc. Like when I do that, the rim goes up. Whereas with this, the rim doesn't have to go up. I can push this into the rim. So there's a little bit of dome there. And this is kind of like the flattest that I really like this style of disc. I do have some flat Firebirds that are really good, including some Scepters in here. But that's kind of why I don't like the flight. So, yeah, the warp. I was kind of surprised that more people didn't experience this. I saw a video, Mulligan Man maybe? I'm not 100% sure. He's in the comments. If you go to that video on the main channel, look in the comments. He's got like a cool avatar with like glasses and stuff. And he's like, oh, I did a video too. He didn't say it in that way. He was interested in my thoughts. It wasn't like a shameless promo or whatever. But he like, or if you just look up Clash's tone throwing it into a wall, that video will probably come up. YouTube is smart enough to find it, because he just like chucked it into a wall and it got beat up a little bit. But I was surprised that he didn't know any warping, because I had some warping for sure, which is odd. Maybe he got a newer run. I don't really know, but he seemed to like the flight of that disc. And this is one man's opinion, me, and I'm not even that good of a man. I'm a silly guy, so like take that for what it's worth. The warp. I'm excited for what the new. Gosh, I can't even read my own stupid handwriting. I'm excited for the new. I hope they're better or closer. Oh, the new run. I hope they're better or closer, like a normal type of disc. And then I do think that innovation is good. One of the top comments on that video that is most liked is like, I love Clash because they are innovating and trying. And I agree. There's another comment as well that was an interesting take that I hadn't really thought about a lot before, but like some companies, which would make sense, because this is the case with my company as well, personally. It's one person, so it's a little bit different, because like I would feel very different in terms of profit motive if I had like employees that I needed to pay so that they could put food on their families' tables. If it's just me, it's a little bit different, and I try to hedge easily because of that. But they're saying that like a lot of more like European style companies, which obviously Clash is, they're in Finland, the profit motive isn't as like nearly as hyper capitalistic as a lot of like American companies, and so they do not mind putting more into R&D and like innovation and fun. And you even see that with Latitude 64, where like they have Jonathan for their YouTube channel, but then he'll go on like a 3 or 4 week vacation with everybody else. And like, I don't know, it seems like a really nice way of life, to be frank, like really healthy work-life balance. And in a way, like, I don't think that there's a right or wrong with it. It's just different. And so that would make sense that like, maybe this is just like the way the Clash is doing it. They might not have any like hyper capitalistic or over like profit incentivized investors or owners. And so they're making enough and they just want to try stuff out and innovate. And I think that's a really good way to position yourself in the market. And I hope that they can get these things right, because they're really cool. Like, this is sick. I would throw a tone disc in my bag because the feel is honestly incredible. I just really could not get over the flight of it. So, okay, it is, I said, already polarizing. Not quite sure what I mean by that. Oh yeah, a lot of comments of like, this Clash is dumb. Like, I'm not wasting my time with this company. They're overcharging, blah, blah, blah. One, like, it screams like a tiny, tiny bit of entitlement to be like, I'm so over this company. They're overcharging. It's like, for something that is like a piece of plastic that you have the option to buy, I don't quite understand. I get where they're coming from, but it's not like they're like up their own butt about it. Like, the manufacturing process to put these, like, where did I put it? These like double steady discs together is a little bit crazy if you think about it. I didn't really go into it too much in that main video, but you make the mold, you basically put the whole disc together. Okay, you have a mint, done. And then you're like, let's go take this to a scroll saw or to a CNC machine, more likely, and let's just rip this middle part out. And then to fix it, we're gonna basically add a little bit more plastic on the bottom side and then do this. And that's gonna be a more expensive process, of course. I don't think that this is something that will have a lot of longevity. Like, I bet if I really press hard enough, I could probably pop one of these out. I don't want to, but like, I bet I could. And so it's a good thing that they're going away from this, because this is significantly more durable. I gotta open that back up because I have a Photoshop thing up that's just white as a fill light. So that's fun. But I understand that they are polarizing with that, but I think the other part of that is like, those people who are saying that, disc golf, as I've learned, being a creator, is a very finicky audience, as is everything, which I don't even blame. Like,
Who cares, frankly? The problem is or not the problem. Actually, the problem and the good thing is you're only as good as like your last at bat, as so they say. And so like, if this sucked for now, it didn't even suck, but like I didn't like it very much. And if they come out, I actually have the Planty plastic, which is 100% recycled. It's in the mail. I think it's getting to me tomorrow. I'm filming this video at 10:46 p.m. Wednesday, February 21st. It's going to go up at like 11:30. It's going to be up on Banana Froth tonight because I have more stuff coming tomorrow that I want to post, but I wanted to get my thoughts out there. That Planty plastic seems sick. If it feels good, it flies good. Clash is going to be known for like whatever has happened recently that people are for or against. You can build up goodwill, and that can hedge against things, and a smaller company is at a deficit with that because they haven't built up enough of that, especially when your prices are a little bit high. You have some really good dips, you have some misses, hits and misses, hits and misses. But if you're balanced over time, I really love the idea of like this graph. This is one of my favorite graphs ever, is like, this is what it looks like in the day-to-day. This is the day. And then you have the week. Basically the exact same. And then you go to the month, and it's like pretty similar, but like you can start to see a little bit of an upward trajectory. And then you got the year. Higher highs, lower lows, and then your trajectory looks like this. And so I found that with like my business ventures that I've done before, including this channel, both channels. This channel's happened way faster. I'm sure there's gonna be lows, highs and lows, but like you don't have all the goodwill. All these companies, Discraft, Innova, MVP, everybody's had like ups and downs, like really big flops and really good things and really bad things. Infinite's perfect, so they haven't. Just kidding, they definitely have. Signing Me was one of their flops to some people because if you look at any of the if you look at the comments, this is really funny. And an aside, and I don't take any stock into these because I know they're not my audience. It doesn't matter anyways. But I posted like a reel that I was running Infinite, and they're like, "Well, I loved Infinite. Looks like I'm never buying their molds again." And then like I posted a video on their channel because I have to do one every month for them as a part of my contract. And it's like, "Well, it looks like I got to unsubscribe from Infinite too now." And I'm like, Why? Like, chill out, dude. Like, you can hate me, but like that's so sad that like you have to even comment that. That being said, like the ups and downs, there's so much goodwill and badwill that companies are going to create over time. And if the balance of that turns into more goodwill, and then there's a higher percentage of goodwill, and it just keeps getting up and up and up because you have better and better products that come out, more and more things, lower and lower prices, marketing things like MVP, signing Simon, big up, even though it's not necessarily about what their plastic does, that marketing part helps. Like those ups and downs will prove like the wins and losses for Clash, which is super exciting. And like you're only as good at your last at bat. It's what have you done for me lately? That's how just the world works, or at least America. Like this audience that I am in, this culture that I am in, that's how that works for the most part. And so like it sucks in a way, but it also in a way is like really redeeming because like for instance, I could have like this big faux pas. Like I told you I farted earlier in this video, and it's like, oh my gosh, this guy farts, he sucks. This is the most stupid example ever, but like if something happens like that and it sucks, and it's not like actually something like bad, it's just something stupid or cringe or weird or like I have a bad take or whatever, like that sucks. And there's going to be one of those dips. And it really sucks to go through those times in those dips. But if you just stay consistent and you just keep doing your thing, eventually stuff's going to be fine. I made this video. I was talking about Clash. Whether it's going to have positive or negative, honestly, probably a little bit more negative towards them. I try to be like, I'm not like biased towards any of these companies. I try not to be, but in a sense, like it's kind of hard not to be because I have different relationships with each one of them because there are people who are running them that I'm interacting with who are sending me stuff or not, or like doing stuff that I like or that I don't like that. And like, that's why I would hope that you would get your opinions, not just from me, because I'm just one dude who has one stupid opinion. And so my ADHD just completely lost that train of thought. But basically what I'm saying is like the higher highs and the lower lows, it is what it is. If you just keep doing your thing, if they keep doing their thing, like, and as long as on the balance you're doing it like for good reasons, like, and like to help people, and you're providing more value than you're asking for, and you're extracting from the audience, that goodwill is gonna grow again, and it can always foster itself. And like Double Steady, big knockdown. 8 months from now, they release this and it becomes a hit. They sign more people. They do fun things. They create good stuff. No, like people are gonna be like, oh, remember that Double Steady thing? That was kind of silly. They made some disc that cracked, but everything else has been phenomenal. Like you're not even gonna remember. And so as long as you are able to risk manage well enough as a company, as a person, as a brand, and like you are doing things from a good place and like trying to be helpful to your audience, I don't think that there's too much of a problem. I think stuff will end up working out in the end. So those are my general thoughts. I think that's basically it. Yeah, that's some more thoughts on tone discs. There's some comments if you want to go and read the comments. I've responded to a lot of them, and then others that I haven't, and that's that. So, appreciate you. See you tomorrow. Thumbnail. Bye.